Hello everybody, my name is Alesh Eisner and welcome to the Canadian Money Talk, the channel about Canadian investing and personal finance. Please like and subscribe. I record a video per week, so make sure you ring the notification bell to get notified each time one comes out. The question to consider in this video is your primary residence an asset and should it count towards your net worth? The question to ask you is, do you include your home in your net worth? Now, online discussions have emerged, and I wanted to add my opinion. My short answer is yes. Where you live should count as an asset. It's on the left-hand side of the balance sheet and should be included in your net worth. The discussion and doing the pros and cons will highlight some investing and personal finance concepts, so it is well worth going through. Investment properties should definitely count as assets and be on your net worth. First, let's look at some arguments against including your primary residence on your net worth statement. So the first one would be, I'm not going to sell it, so why count it or consider it at all? Well, this is because it's worth money, which is what your net worth shows. Second argument is, well, it's not liquid. Shouldn't matter. I have investments that aren't liquid that are in my net worth. You can focus on your liquid investments if you want, even as your non-liquid assets are included in your balance sheet. Be aware of what is liquid and what is not, but include everything in your assets. Thirdly, well, it costs you money. So with Robert Kiyosaki, it's a liability, not an asset. Since he says what makes you money is an asset and what costs you money is a liability. Now, saying that until you sell it, it is a liability. I would argue that the equity is there in your balance sheet, although it affects your operating costs in your income statement. You can always sell or mortgage your primary residence or use a home equity line of credit to access the equity. Even to live on in retirement. It also saves you having to pay rent. And lastly, a friend of mine says that's where his family lives, and he wasn't willing to borrow against it to access the capital because that would put where his family lives at risk. The primary residence is excluded from assets and portfolio, becoming invisible and out of play. That is a valid way of looking at it. It's not the way I would do it, but it is certainly his prerogative to do so. Now let's look at some reasons to include your primary residence in your net worth statement. The first thing is you need to be aware of your asset allocation. Know that you are exposed to real estate when you own your primary residence. Probably this is a large percentage of your net worth if you are in the lower net worth quartile. So this is important to know. Secondly, for most people, their house, if they own one, is their biggest single asset. So the rest of their assets may not be significant, making the owner's net worth look worse than it actually is if they don't include the primary residence. The primary residence tends to be a forced savings plan where people pay the mortgage to keep a roof over their head. It appreciates at the rate of inflation over time, and then you eventually pay off the mortgage, leaving you with an appreciated asset free and clear. However, no one makes you invest, so the CPP would be the only other forced savings plan for retirement where the employer takes it out of your paycheck. Therefore, because the forced savings plan made you pay off your mortgage, that is a significant part of your net worth. So make sure to include the primary residence. Thirdly, an account balance sheet would include the primary residence. The net worth is the value less the mortgage, adding to your positive overall net worth. Fourthly, for information, it is good to know you have positive or negative equity, and if you got into financial trouble, you would have access to that equity via a HELOC, or you could sell the property outright. And lastly, the accuracy of your net worth statement is important, and you can mentally exclude your primary residence out of certain totals or calculations, but make sure that your net worth reflects the equity that you have in the home. So what is my opinion and what do I do? Well, I include it, but I try to minimize the amount of money that I have in my primary residence. Since I live bare bones, it is quote unquote dead money, although tax free, and it's not making me money, but it is in fact costing me, even though you could argue that it's probably saving me on rent compared to if I were renting. Now, if you have extra money available, owning a big primary residence might be the way to go for you, as it appreciates tax-free, but note that the long-term appreciation of real estate in Canada is roughly at the rate of inflation, so about 3%, if there's no rent coming in. Including the primary residence in your list of assets doesn't make you sell it or even put it up for sale. Do whatever you feel comfortable with. Don't sell it if you don't want to sell it, but make sure you track it. Track it on a yearly basis using the government's assessment, for example, if you don't want to find the fair market value by looking at comparables on MLS. That way, you know where you stand. If you have any requests on what you'd like me to cover in future videos, please put that in the comment section. If you'd like to get in touch, please reach out on any of these social media channels, and may you have a profitable day.